Well, I'm already laughing because Roy says he's got stuff to do, so we need to get this blank, 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 blank thing going. So here we go. It is the Gun Cranks. I'm Guns Magazine editor Brent Weed, along with American Handgunner editor Tom McHale and blankety blank working guy Roy Huntington, our special projects editor. So, gents, hello. Welcome back to the Gun Cranks yet again.
Oh, I'm happy to be here.
I'm honored. I feel honored to be here.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Honored.
Yeah.
Honored. We're honored.
Oh, well, gosh. Well, guys, today we're talking about something that I've been messing around with for quite a while now, and it's pretty cool, but it's contentious in the idea that is it really valuable or is it just people goofing around and having fun and trying to call it something useful? So what we're going to do through the miracle of editing, I'm going to talk about virtual training.
Dun, dun, dun. Sorry, Tom. I didn't mean to laugh that hard.
He can't
I don't
see.
think he can hear us, huh? So if he
I can hear you.
He is not going to be able to see very well with that.
Yeah, so we could flip him off and stuff right now, and he would never know.
You know who that is? I've seen this guy before. That's Meta Boy.
Yes.
Dun dun dun, Meta Boy.
Is that a
Yep.
superhero? Meta Boy.
Okay, hold on.
He looks like a hentai cartoon, you know. I don't think we beat him up enough yet. There's a lot more that need to be said here. This is what you know.
He's looking at something in there.
I can actually. Oh, I shut it off, son of a bitch.
And there it is in a nutshell, right there, by golly.
Okay.
For self-defense, how does this work? You put that on real quick.
Okay.
Self-defense encounter.
Yeah.
To get superpowers.
When you hear a bump at night. Yeah.
Okay. Are we ready, guys?
Ready.
Yeah.
Ready? Okay.
Ready.
Pew pew. Pew 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 pew. Pew pew. Pew.
I'm embarrassed just watching that. I am.
Watching what? I can't see anything.
This is terrifying. The thing that I'm worried about is that if there are any viewers who are going, "Wow, man, that's really cool. I wonder what model that is," then I would be embarrassed that we actually did. But wait. I was shopping at Walmart the other day, because I knew we were gonna be doing this, and they actually have a discount version of this.
Really?
That is available at Walmart, and I have. Let me put it on real quick. It'll just be a second.
Okay.
I got it. It's over here. I got to get it over here. Wait.
Okay.
Okay. So.
Whoa.
I know.
That is incredible.
You can pew pew pew.
You see pretty much what Brent was seeing.
Yeah. And I like it because it was $1.49. Yeah. And it's portable. It doesn't need batteries. And
but do the pictures move on the inside?
Well, see, that's the beauty of it is you can see anything you want to on the inside because it's just up to you, right?
If you've been drinking enough.
Yeah, I thought it was a brilliant idea. I really did. I thought, this guy was really smart.
So that was full of cough syrup, and you drink all the cough syrup first, and then put that on, right?
But yeah, anyway, it worked because you're right. After about a bottle and a half of wine, you put that on your head. You have to do one of two things. Number one, you fall asleep because it's peaceful and quiet and it's dark, right? But if you keep the right attitude, you can have all kinds of adventures in there. And like I said, it was $1.49, I think, and it never runs out of batteries.
If you're just joining us here on the Gun Cranks, we've completely destroyed the idea of using virtual training to improve your shooting skills. So, okay, good night, everybody. It's been great.
Well, at least if we're nearby. I mean, I can just, here I am at the range or something, and some nitwit next to me. We'll walk up someday. Trust me, they're going to do this if they don't already do it. And he'll put on his virtual reality thing. And then you'll see him hold his gun out as if he's shooting at the target. And then he'll go pew, 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 pew. Because he's seeing his target, in his, it's like, no.
Oh.
Roy, I have to say, after seeing Brent's, I'm more interested in your budget one that you found, but I have one question before I go out and buy it. Will my 4 Patriots Power Sidekick backup battery run that?
I bet it would for a long time.
You said that because you are right. Because they were kind enough to send us the sample things. And you know what? I've been using mine, and I have to say it's amazing. Brent, explain exactly what it is we're talking about.
The Patriot Power Sidekick. What did I do with mine? I had it here someplace. Oh, here we go. This thing is a incredibly strong battery that my entire house is running on it and has been for over a week. Okay, that's a complete lie, but this thing is crazy great in terms of running stuff. You've got 110 volt outlets. You've got 5 volts, so it could literally probably run your phone until doomsday. And then you even have 12 volt outlets. It's got digital readout. And best of all, it comes with a solar panel. So if the sun's out, you can charge. So I told the guys, I've got a major appliance I'm going to run this thing on this week and see if it really lives up to the hype. But so far, Tom, you ran a desk lamp for 162 weeks or something like that. It was crazy.
It was 19 years.
Yeah.
But seriously, it was about 50 hours. But Roy, I'm thinking with the solar things, can you duct tape those onto your virtual reality box? So as you're walking around doing that outside, you're constantly recharging your setup, right?
They have a bracket that you buy for that.
Oh,
it's a special bracket that you buy. And so, and unless you have a backpack for your Patriot box that you can carry on your back. No, I think you'll find this alternate method is very versatile and, and everything. But, all seriousness aside, I think when I was, let's see, I had a stepbrother and he was about 8 years old. And this was in the very early days of video games when they were really just like bitmappy and terrible. And like you couldn't really tell what was happening on the screen. I was visiting them at their house because he lived somewhere else. And I said, hey, what are you doing? He said, hey, would you like to see me hit a home run? And I said, sure. Right. And so I was waiting for him to get a couple baseball mitts and a ball and a bat. I figured we were going to go out in the street and we were going to do something. And he says, yeah, come here. And so I thought, well, he's going to take me over in the garage where the baseball bat is and stuff like that. And we go to the family room and sit down and there's a video game, a real kind of crude baseball diamond looking thing. And so it goes, choo, pew, pew, choo, whack, pew, pew. And then the crowd roars, right? And that was the first time I'd ever been exposed to that. And I was stunned into nothingness. I looked at him and I went, that's not a home run. Okay. Do you have a baseball? Do you have a bat? Let's go outside and I will show you how to actually do this. He was completely not interested in that, and that's my only fear about this reality stuff is I think if you balance it probably with actual shooting and actual guns and actual training, and then you just do this, it's almost like dry firing maybe. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, I was going to say that's a Meta 2 headset, and there's several shooting programs. I'm reviewing one, and the realism is amazing, going on stunning in terms of how accurate the weapons are, and you can choose just any weapon you want. You have to outfit it properly with an optic, flashlight, laser, whatever. You got long guns, you got pistols, shotguns, sniper rifles, but it's interesting in that I've seen two things that I think I'm actually getting some value out of. Number one, when I'm shooting with an optic, it's that whole thing of positioning the firearm properly so you're using the optic instead of just pointing it. So I think it's reinforcing that idea of if the red dot is not there, get it there before you start cranking rounds off. And the other thing it reinforces things like if your pistol runs dry, you not only have to insert a magazine, you have to run the slide. And if you don't, you stand there either with a target shooting back at you, or there's a zombie mode in the one I'm messing with, and that's pretty funny because they start killing you if you know, and you're what do I do now? So it's interesting. And the other thing is when you're moving through these various shooting ranges, using corners, slicing pies. So I wouldn't say it's going to replace anything involving shooting, but I do think it is like some good dry fire practice in that it reinforces some proper habits. And I got to say, it shocked me because I was pretty much experienced with video games when my kids were younger, and they weren't realistic. The guns weren't realistic at all. So it's gone full circle. They're very realistic. The manual of arms is authentic. And so I think there's value to that. Having said that, there's a lot of game involved too. I've actually found I do as good or better sometimes, especially close in, just point shooting, just kind of doing the pew pew, and it works pretty good. So I don't know if I'm creating a training scar or maybe it doesn't matter at all. So I'm not sure. I'm kind of both ways.
There's no gun though, right? You're just using what?
Well, the one I'm reviewing, there's an actual gun. The one that I like the most is using the controller. But there is, I'm reviewing, it comes with both a long gun.
Lost in space things there with those.
Well, believe it or not, just everything from like going down to your side to grasp the gun. You have to manipulate the controls so that you reach down, you grab the gun properly, you bring it up, you have to grab a magazine out of the magazine pouch, insert it, run the slide, and then you're good to go. So it's pretty authentic in that regards. So that's where I'm saying it kind of reinforces the proper steps, because if you shoot the gun dry and it goes to slide lock, okay, you got to do something. So it's not just you press a button and it's magically reloaded. It's you have to go for the magazine, you have to insert it, you have to run the slide and get back on. So is that training? I can see kind of both sides to it.
No.
Right,
Tell me something though. Well, seriously, if you had someone who's never shot a gun before and you said, here, I'm going to teach you how to shoot your gun and aim and change the magazine, and you gave him one of those lost in space holder things, and then you did that for him, and now you took them out to the range and handed them a gun, well, how would they do? I mean, because they haven't felt recoil, they haven't seen muzzle blast, they haven't actually manipulated a gun and felt the magazine going into the
right.
Felt it snick home, the power, the pressure of the slide to run in your hand.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be nasty, but I'm curious.
I think it bridges.
Go ahead.
I was going to say it bridges the gap between reading the manual or watching a YouTube video versus actually going to the range and doing it. So I guess that's, I'm kind of discussing the philosophical side of it. I think it bridges that gap, but does that gap need to be bridged? And that's what I'm not decided on yet. I can see the value in somebody that's especially a raw novice in that, because you can watch it on the TV as they're doing it. So, okay, you forgot to grab the magazine. You forgot to run the slide. The safety's on this particular weapon system, or run the bolt or whatever. So I think in terms of actually learning the manual of arms repeatedly with a little more feedback than just talking about it, I think maybe there's some use there. As far as the actual firing sequence, I don't know. Like I said, with bringing the optic up and the front, when I'm not using an optic, just that whole front sight thing, I feel like maybe it's because you have to concentrate like a real gun of getting your sights lined up and getting them on target and all that. So that's why I wanted to have this discussion, because it is not strictly a toy, but I'm not quite ready to say it will be the future of firearms training, as some people, including instructors, are saying. I'm not quite.
I think
yet.
You need to go from gun sight, then use one of those machines, Because I mean, to me, it seems like it's a terrible mistake to go in the opposite direction. Because it's almost like someone who goes to college and then they try to enter into a real job in whatever field they were studying, and they find out that they don't know anything, and that everything they learned in college didn't apply in the real world. And so, to me, it seems like I can see their value, but to me, it seems like if you learned it first, then use this as a training tool. It seems to me.
Let me pose a question back to you, and Tom can jump on this too, because I'm sure he's been in these scenarios, because this is an up and coming part of the industry. This is a virtual headset, but it's essentially the same thing in 3D of a flat screen, whether it's a computer projection. In law enforcement, we used FATS, and there are other systems. That's a trade name, where you take a gun and it may be CO2 powered or whatever, and you run through actual photorealistic videos and scenarios, and you shoot, and it shows you where you were pointing and where your shot was when the trigger broke and all that. Do you feel like that was useful? Because guys are both ways on that too. It's like, this is a complete waste of time, to guys like, okay, I can see the training value in it.
To me, only if you have field experience, because I've been to 2 police academies. The first time was as a reserve, so I had no field experience. And we went to the FATS machine, and it was like a video game kind of. It was a little more crude in those days. And then when I went in the field and I pointed my gun at somebody for the very first real time, none of that FATS stuff applied at all. Then after I had field experience, and then I went to the San Diego Police Department in the academy. Now, when I did the FATS machine, I was looking for the things that I knew I needed to concentrate on. Watch their hands, give them verbal commands. It was like, and then it was valuable, I think. And so that's maybe what this 3D thing or whatever. Have you seen the new Apple? They're not imported yet, but they're Apple. They're like virtual reality goggles. Have you seen them yet? And then it's like a science fiction show. They show the video and what they see, and you can put multiple computer screens up in front of you, and you manipulate them by doing like this, like you're on your iPad kind of. And so it's like, holy cow, what is that going to open up, for the things that you're talking about?
That's what my headset, the one I just had on, does. I mean, it's a virtual environment. You have to reach and touch, and it's to the point that even if you're in a situation where maybe the wind is rushing at you, it's got a little blower in there, and you feel the wind. It's pretty crazy. And with a roller coaster, you feel the wind rushing at you. And to the point, I talked to Jade Mulday. He's the editor of Shooting Industry. He got one of these to try out, and we both had the same experience. I was ready to throw up on the roller coaster within 10 seconds or so. I ripped that thing off like, it was unbelievable. Until you try one, and Roy, we're going to be at your place very soon. I'm going to bring it, and
bring it, would you?
You try it, and honestly,
I may change my opinion. Yeah.
I thought it was a toy. I really did. And after not just the shooting side of it, but even just the immersive videos, my favorite is I downloaded one of the Blue Angels flying over the Indianapolis 500, which I've been to, countless times in my life. And you're basically sitting in the pilot's lap, and it doesn't matter where you look. You can look down at the aircraft. You can look outside and see the landmarks. You look up, and there's that other jet right here, and you hear the noise, and it's something. I'm not ready to say it's the next iteration of the world, but I could see how if they get artificial intelligence to the point where, you can have your own customized movies to play, and now you got them in 3D, and you have to manipulate the environment, and
the environment reacts based on what you do. Like,
exactly.
Not pre-programmed.
Is it real video? Like the
sometimes,
airplanes?
Yeah. Some of them are, yeah. So Tom, I'm interested in your thoughts. I'm sure you've done some of these computer simulators. You see a value or not?
I actually haven't, but where my thoughts are on this is with the tech background I was in forever. I'm looking 5 years from now, like where this goes. And I think where this goes, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think artificial intelligence is where it goes. The goggles get smaller, they get less obnoxious, they get the synchronization down, they get real simulated guns that mimic what you actually carry. So when you raise it to get the dot in place, your muscle memory is the same. And I think conceptually, it's not there yet, but conceptually, shooting and moving, different positions, issuing commands, and having the virtual characters react based on what you say and how you say it or not, I think it can get real interesting, you know?
Yep.
Then
how
all
much
that.
does it cost, Brent? How much does it cost?
I think the headset's around $400 and the software, 30, well, some of it's free, $30-$40. And then I believe this one that has the gun with it, it was basically a Glock, and it's got a Wi-Fi trigger in it. And I think it's under a couple of $100. So,
and it's standalone.
Yeah.
In other words, that's it. That's all you need to buy.
Yep.
Okay.
And it connects to your Wi-Fi, and you can download things and save things and all that. And one other thing I didn't talk about for hunters, I will say there's one feature that I'm still exploring, but it's really cool, is you have various hunting scenarios. And when you shoot the animal, it documents in a 3D model that includes the kill zones. So if you're hunting elk, say, and they're all over the place, they're coming over the hill, they're walking down the creek, and you're at all kinds of different angles. So you shoot the animal, and then you can either do it later or right then. It'll show you where the shot went in, where it went out, if it was a clean kill or not. For folks that are maybe new hunters or haven't hunted a particular type of animal, I could see where it'd be pretty valuable, because it's one thing to shoot a broadside, even a full-size elk target. Okay, here's the kill zone. The heart always lies here. But when you're seeing them wind down a creek and you've got to take that shot, or a bear coming at you, that's my favorite, shooting some bears and they're doing all this. You shoot this one and you don't put him down. He comes for you. And eventually, if you don't put him down, the scenario ends because he killed you. But, you learn the different angles and headshots and body shots and all that. So that's pretty interesting. And it so far seems to be pretty darn realistic. So even though I've never shot a red stag in New Zealand, which is one of the animals, but yeah, the pig
Only
hunting
in the metaverse.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I like to shoot a longbow, and so it's a stick bow, they call it, right? So there's no sights, there's no anything, and it's just, there you go. And so I saw someone had a pretty sophisticated video game. It was at an archery store, and he said, well, here, you should try this. Now, it didn't have the goggles, but it was like on a screen. And so you could pull a bow, and it had like the bow was being pulled, and you could see the arrow sticking out in front of you and stuff. And so I did it for a little while, and there were moving targets, and you arch the arrow in and lead them and do all these kind of things. And afterwards, it was not satisfying to me, because you weren't pulling the bowstring, you didn't feel it for real. It was just push a button basically. And it was fun and it was entertaining. And look, I did it, like playing a bowling alley game or something. Look, I made a strike,
Yeah.
But to me, the satisfaction of the real thing, I was shooting a 22 yesterday, and it dawned on me, it was mini mags. And it was a bolt action 22, and I opened it up, and I got a little drift of the 22 smoky smell, coming out of it.
Yeah.
And it took me right back, to when I was 10 years old. My dad was showing me how to shoot a 22. So, of course, having said that, you're probably going to tell me that they have smell-o-vision and all the other stuff too.
Not yet, but I'm sure that's coming. That's coming down the pike. And I was just sitting here thinking, where this might also be useful is the generation that's coming up is much more digital forward than we are, and I could see where they might be more comfortable initially learning on something like this. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn. I'm kind of got both feet straddling the fence on that. I don't think it's ever going to be a full-on replacement for training with a firearm. That's not even a question. But as I think, Roy, I'm making a prediction. When you're done, you will be shocked at how realistic it is, and there may be some value to it. So we'll see. We'll maybe do a follow-up on that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've certainly seen, 4K movies that were so realistic, about animals and an elephant charging the TV set and stuff like that. And it is pretty cool. But gosh, so far in my experience, it's like there's nothing wrong with it. And I encourage it. And like Tom says, who knows where the technology is going to go. I hear that there are some like sensors that if you turn your arm, it's like gyro. So you have to press against the torque.
Yeah.
Does that do that? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, all that's really cool. And I think in the worst case scenario, it sounds fun. So there's nothing wrong with that, So we'll see.
We'll see.
I see that he's been sucked to the dark side. Did you notice that?
Well, there's one thing that I will freely admit, having introduced a lot of people to this system, there is nothing goofier than watching somebody use it. So, Roy, when we're out at your house, there'll be some video. And I'll tell a quick story. We were using it here at the house, and my nephew and his wife were here. And he really liked it. And they were watching on the TV because I can stream it to the TV. And we were doing a hunting thing. So, you're looking around, you can look up, down, all around, and you'll hear animals walking through the leaves. And they'll make noise. He got the brilliant idea, and it was really cool. And of course, they were videoing this. He started out far away, and I've got bad hearing, of course. So he was making noises. And finally, when he got just about a foot behind me, he went, I'm like, boy, this thing is realistic. It sounded like he just had an accident. And then everybody burst out laughing. But so I've given that away. I should have done it with you and videotaped it. But yeah, I was thinking, well, what kind of animal goes? So
I can see one or two. Well, that is one nice thing about this is you can have an adult beverage or two and still shoot.
Exactly.
There you go.
Spices everything up a little bit. I think, look how fast I can shoot. Yeah. All right. Well, I look forward to seeing it, and then maybe we need to do a follow-up.
Okay, we can do that. Well, that's another episode of the Gun Cranks, and make sure you check out gunsmagazine.com, americanhandgunner.com, and our associated Gun Cranks. We have, of course, an audio podcast. You can check it out at Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Google and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Also, don't forget the Guns Magazine podcast, both video on YouTube and audio only. And as we said, our magazines, and go to Amazon. And what's hot off the griddle right now in special publications, Tom?
Brand new book, Les Baer 1911 Pistols, a brand new collection of articles about high-end custom guns. You will love it. Amazon.com or any of our websites. Find it there. And you can also, through our surplus special edition, learn what a Panzerknacker is.
Ah.
No one's going to ask?
That's why I wear suspenders.
Yeah. Okay, so real quick, Panzerknackers were the German soldiers back in World War II who were tasked with destroying enemy tanks by hand.
Right.
We're not talking bazookas or Panzerfaust and all that stuff. We're talking climb up on the thing and beat the grate off with a hammer and throw dynamite in the engine compartment. And they had a special series of medals and everything. So crazy stuff. So you can read all about it and many other fascinating things in our latest surplus special edition.
Great. And little known fact, the finale of Animal House was inspired by that when Greg Marmalard is knocking on the tank.
Yep. He was a Panzerknacker.
Yeah. I'm doing the dishes. You know who it is. So, wow. Okay, guys. Well, this has been another great episode, and that's it. So I guess we'll see you next week on The Gun Cranks.
I'm Gun Cranks Editor Week, along with Tom Patriot, editor of American Handgunner, Eric Yellowhouse, editor of AmericanCop.com, and Dad About Man About Town, Roy Huntington.